Okay, we're ready. That's
What a
about the
lovely
level
intro.
No, this is the lovely intro. Did you hear that? That was the beer being opened.
I mean, your microphone will probably pick it up, but I didn't.
Oh, good.
Welcome back, folks, to Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast where we are right in the thick of Taskmaster USA, and we're about halfway through. Yay.
Yeah, this was... I think my microphone's noise canceling software might have edited that out, which is more work than this episode deserves. Even just automated computer editing.
Anyway, that's Joe, and I'm Ellison. Although you probably knew that, it's just us two every week. Two single guys who have nothing better to do with their lives.
I mean, I have stuff to do after this, so that's why I want to do it quickly.
I have to go to bed because I've got to get up early for work. There's a public transport strike in London tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. You're going to have to walk to work, huh?
Well, no, the buses are still running, but God, it's going to be like queuing for a taxi in New York City.
That's not very bad, actually. I've done that.
Well, it's like, you've seen the Steve Martin film, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
the
not
bit where he's rushing home for Thanksgiving.
I do, but it's not actually like that. I've been to.
I get it's a public holiday, Thanksgiving, but so yeah.
I was just making the joke about there not actually being that hard to hail a cab. No, I get what you mean. That is very inconvenient. You should try stealing a train.
I'll hijack it and then get thrown in prison. But hey, at least I won't have to watch this shitty show.
Steal a Circle Line train. End up at the same place you started.
I'll just drive it off the rails.
There is no off the rails. It's in a tunnel.
There are some bits that are above ground, and anyway, I could, if I rock myself hard enough, I will be able to build up momentum to the point where the train is rocking around, and then it will just like crash into the tunnel and then impale itself in mud.
Have you considered not doing that?
I've never considered it at all until you mentioned it.
Right. But, so, yeah.
And I noticed...
Emerson has to walk to work tomorrow.
No, I can get the bus, but I have to get up early. Like, early.
Ugh. Maybe don't work.
I can't. I want that money. We're living in a cost of living crisis where all of... God, this is politic. I hate bringing current affairs.
Gas is $5 a gallon in America. I know exactly how that feels.
I don't. I don't drive. You want
to buy a less expensive car? Too bad they don't make those because they're not in stock. Anyways, this is just us trying to avoid having to talk about this show. It's called Magnets and Magic because these people are stupid. Anyway,
inflation won't last forever, folks. Don't worry. They're just recovering from the pandemic.
Sure.
Anyway, Magnets and Magic, excuse me. Jesus Christ, I can't even get the episode titles right. So,
there's a Hawaiian shirt count, very briefly. Ron Funches is wearing a shirt with food print on it. It's like tomatoes and lettuce and stuff.
Yeah.
It's as close as we're going to get.
I've got something more important to mention, and I'm kind of, to an extent, I'm glad I rewatched these two episodes because
Why
I
did
wouldn't
you
have
rewatch
noticed
them?
Because we're recording this on Monday the 20th of June. We were supposed to record on Thursday last week. Unfortunately,
my house lost power for 3 days, and I was not ready to record when he was, because there was a storm that knocked down like every power line in Ohio.
So with Taskmaster USA specifically, I watched the episodes as close to recording as I possibly can because they're so forgettable and so I just don't want to think about them for too long. But obviously because we put off the episodes and we usually have we've had a buffer of 1 week with recording and uploading episodes. That's not going to be the case this time though. Episode 5 is going live in a few days. which is the one we're recording now. But basically, even though I'd made notes, I had forgotten what had happened in the episode. Both of the episodes, 5 and 6, actually. And I went back and rewatched them today because that's how forgettable they were. But I did notice something very interesting when on my rewatch. You know how Reggie says, "Hi, I'm Reggie Watson, this is Taskmaster," like the very first thing you hear in the show?
He didn't do that this time, did he? In episode 5, I think I noticed that.
No, he does it. He does it in both episodes, and I literally clicked back and forth between these two episodes and then the others, and I noticed the beginning is because Reggie, obviously, the Taskmaster wears the same outfit. That this is something Greg does as well. Greg wears the same outfit for every studio recording, as does Reggie. But what I note, fucking hell, my voice. What I noticed was they used the same clip of Reggie saying, "Hi, I'm Reggie Watson, this is Taskmaster," for every episode so far.
This show is unimaginably lazy in how it was made and edited. I don't know why that's surprising.
I mean, it's not surprising to me, but it gives me another thing to talk about as to why this show is absolute wank.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, our contested descriptions: Dylan is friendly, Freddie is hungry, Kate is thirsty, Lisa is ungodly, and Ron is tasty, probably because of his shirt.
I guess. Do you want to do the prize, or do you want me to?
Sorry, I'm yawning. That's how boring the show is.
Fair enough. I was watching it last night, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself?
Well, this is our second to last recording session, so...
Yay!
So I'll just do it. Ron has brought in a nameplate from the time he was on the talk show, and we are reminded of the... Hang on, let me finish. And we are reminded of the fact that this show could have been much better because Ron brought his nameplate from when he appeared on Conan.
Yeah, which specifically, it was the first time he did stand-up on Conan.
Hopefully only time.
Is there an airplane flying behind your house right now, or is that just coming through your microphone?
No, there is an airplane. My house isn't far from Heathrow Airport.
Oh, wow! That's got to be a shitty commute tomorrow. Holy God, that's in like the sticks of London.
I mean, we're not central London. You don't have an airport right in the center of the city unless it's the tiny central London airport.
That's London City Airport, Emerson. You're literally the only city where that happens.
I mean, Heathrow, Gatwick, and Luton are all on the outskirts of the city because you're not supposed to have airports right in the center of the city.
Unless you're London.
Yes.
Although I also do love that there is an airport in Southend that brands itself as London Southend Airport.
Maybe because I think it's only branded that because it's doesn't long to... Southend is in Essex, by the way.
Yeah, notably not London.
Yes, notably not London. But I think maybe it's just called London because it's rather quick to get to, especially by train from London to and from London.
It's 58 kilometers from London.
That's 26 miles. That's a marathon.
36 miles.
36. So yeah, it'd probably take you about 45 minutes, 50 minutes on a train.
It is the only carrier through there is EasyJet.
Anyway, so
take the Shenfield to Southend line, served by Abellio Greater Anglia, that goes to Liverpool Street Station. See, this is more interesting than Taskmaster USA. Hi, this is Your Time Starts Now, a London Southend Airport podcast. Can we please not talk about Taskmaster USA?
Anyway, what, you burped right at the beginning of this podcast.
And I just did again. There we go.
Well, okay, we're a bunch of immature children.
Bodily noises with Joe and Emerson.
Oh, God. Literally, I'm the biggest man-child ever. Do you remember the film Madagascar?
Yes.
I rewatched it for the first time in about 14 years a few days ago, and you know those there's the two chimpanzees.
Yes.
One of them's British. One of them communicates through sign language.
Let's speed this up. The people seem to like the shorter videos, judging by our view counts. But yes, what about them?
Well, basically, right at the beginning of the film, one of them, the one asks, like when Marty breaks out of the zoo and everyone goes and follows him. One of the monkeys, the monkeys are communicating, and I remember one line avidly. One of the monkeys says, "Well, of course we're going to throw poo at him," and that line just stuck with me, and I would just randomly think about it and laugh as I went about my day for the next few days. Anyway, Ron's brought in his nameplate from his time on Conan. He also took a handful of things from the studio, which included his nameplate, and then he went back for his son.
Well, no, he was.
Are you contradicting me again?
Yes, I am, because I watched this and I remembered it. Unlike you, Ron said that was one of the only things he took with him after his divorce. That he got out of his divorce, and that this was one of the only things he brought with him. Then he went back for his son. I hate this show, but I get it right.
Well, I would have got it right too if I nearly said your time.
Anyways,
now.
I am going to ask again, like I have almost every episode, what on earth was the prompt for these people? Because there was clearly some prompt of bring in something meaningful to you, and I don't get it. So, anyways,
I honestly don't. I don't care. That's just how
no, we
much.
don't. Okay, task 1. Speaking of monkeys, now we have bananas. Okay, because this is task 1 is the throw something into something
from series 4, episode 5. Now, I want to say, the little the transition shot where it's like da 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 da. That's that song.
Yeah.
The footage that played over that for this task was quite misleading, I thought, because it was Alex dropping something into the pool, and I thought we were going to have the highest splash task, if you remember that.
Oh. Yeah, well, what I found really interesting with this is how they actually framed the throw something into something task, because every person who went up actually had a really slickly edited little promo reel of them doing the throw. Which is really weird because it's not consistent within Taskmaster or this show itself. Because it never happens anywhere else. And then also, it immediately they do the slickly edited promo reel, which it starts off with Kate. She's throwing bananas into the chimney of the house, much like, was it Hugh Dennis who was throwing bread into the toaster?
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
And Hugh and you think she's going to get it, and then it misses, and you have to sit there because I actually wrote in my notes. Oh, they did it like Nish, where they Nish Kumar with the basketball, where they showed the successful attempt first, and she throws it and misses, and then they cut to the normal camera angle, and it really doesn't make any fucking sense.
I mean, I was going to say that more about someone coming up later.
Well, that too. That is they actually then did that, but.
It only took her 4 attempts.
Which is impressive, but also not. I don't care.
I mean, it's throwing bananas down a chimney. I mean, it's no Santa, but yeah.
Next up, we have Ron, who is... I just want to point something out. Actually,
can I suggest a title for today's episode?
What?
Fun Times with Funches.
Maybe if we don't come up with anything better. But what I think is really interesting is in this one, they've had in a couple of the commercial break idents, I think in either this one or episode 6 it shows up, is the pool table inside the house has the pool balls replaced with fruits with numbers written on them. And they make use of these in this task. Ron picks up the lemon that's like the 8-ball, blindfolds Alex, makes Alex open his mouth, and then he throws the lemon at Alex's chest, and you think he's missed, but actually after like the second attempt, it sticks to Alex's shirt, which you're like, ooh, how did he do that? And then he throws a handful of paper clips at Alex, and it's very clear that they've like hollowed out the lemon and stuck a magnet in there because the paper clips stick to Alex's shirt too.
Forget
And it's
hollowing out a baguette. They've hollowed out a lemon.
yeah, and it's
Doesn't have quite the same ring to it, though.
when life gives you lemons, make bad VFX. Anyway,
No,
it's just
when life gives you lemons, you don't make Taskmaster USA, or you do it with a better cast.
yeah. When life gives you lemons, ask to see life's manager. Anyway, uh, it's just not impressive.
When life gives you oranges, complain to life and say that's not how the saying goes.
Mm-hmm. Next we have Freddy, who I think did not fully get the understanding of this task because he is he is playing American football because the task was delivered on an American football that was thrown to them by Alex. And Freddy uses very basic camera editing tricks, footage editing tricks, to make three of himself appear in the film. And so he spikes the ball to himself and then throws it across the pool to himself. And it's, I mean, the editing's funny. It's not really the way that this task should be done. Reggie is particularly harsh on it and thinks it was not a good throw, which it wasn't, but that's not the biggest issue.
Also, can we say that he's trying to be so painfully American with the whole like American football, and then he sings "Oh Say Can You See,"
which is the Star Spangled Banner, which is the U.S. national anthem. It's honestly that's not even
Taskmaster USA. Oh, say can you see that this show is shit?
Yeah. Honestly, it came off exactly what it looked like, which is a British guy trying to be American. That's not even like painful because it's actually a true cliche. That is exactly what it looks like when a European tries to understand America.
But, I mean, it's a lot better than another person doing what person mimicking another culture in this task.
We're going to get into that. But I just felt that it wasn't like the spirit of the task. Like he was throwing it to himself. He is not a thing. But it doesn't matter. Who cares?
I mean, if Freddy wants to objectify himself this way, he can do it.
But he didn't. Then we get Dylan, okay, so Dylan, actually, they do the full Nish Kumar. Dylan is throwing a plastic solo cup, red solo cup.
Like basically the one you'd see in like every American teen university movie.
Or just in real life. We use them as disposable cups in my house. I have one of them 2 feet from me right now.
Well, they're a very American thing. We don't really.
They're not a cliche. They're an actual thing that everybody uses. But
it's a cliche to me because we all just use we use glass and stuff because we're fancy.
We have those too, but what if you want to just throw them out later because you don't want to have to wash anything?
Save waste. I mean,
whatever, nerds. Anyways, Dylan is standing on one side of. There's a little like shallow,
it's like a jacuzzi area of the pool.
Bit of the pool, and so he's standing on one side. Alex is on the other, and Dylan is trying to do an over-the-shoulder backwards throw into a cup that Alex is holding. And they do the full Nish Kumar where the cup lands in the cup perfectly on the first try. And it is not the first try. It's the 135th try. And they show Dylan fucking it up until he and Alex are basically standing like virtually in front of each other in the pool for some reason. And eventually he gets it. And it's Again, it's
Is it?
incredibly not interesting. It's not really worth it, but
It's not really in the spirit of. I mean, you could
no,
just
no,
throw it. It's like the
no,
whole
no.
like
It's exactly in the
editing.
spirit.
No, let
It,
me say what I mean. Let me say what I mean. It's like the thing with Nish Kumar's is that it's supposed to be in the fewest attempts. You could just with this task, it can take as long as you like, as long as the final result is impressive. So basically, editing it that way and editing it and presenting it this way is pointless.
well, yeah, the editing is stupid, but this task is actually more in the spirit of the original task than anything else we've seen this attempt, because this is exactly like how Hugh Dennis managed it and how everybody else managed it in that task, because it's the cut to the pile of failed attempts scattered around.
Yes, but also the thing because you show Nish's obviously Nish obviously knew what was going on, but it's more of like an effect of bring the effect crashing down to the audience, and thus brings Nish down with it. So you think, oh my god, Nish has got it on first try, he kicked it in, and then he gets basically fuck all. Well, I think he doesn't even come last, but yeah. The thing is, the pile of cups at the end doesn't matter because Dylan still wins the task.
Well, yeah, that was also really dumb. The scoring in this is dumb. I don't like how they score this, but it's also probably the most impressive out of all of these. But also, I don't care. Anyways, finally, we have probably the most offensive one of all of these so far, which is surprising no one, Lisa Lampanelli. Because, okay, so Lisa, in her role as being an abusive person to the host of this show,
She's like an abusive
um,
auntie.
almost, yeah, basically, she sets a little scene where she is pushing her grandmother along in a pushchair. The grandmother is, of course, Alex dressed like an old woman. And Lisa is affecting this awful British accent that she's saying, like, are you going to cut me out of the will? Is it true? And then Alex nods and she shoves him into the pool, indicating that she wanted to murder an elderly person. Or it's like, elder abuse isn't funny. Like, I don't know if we need to say that out loud, but apparently we do. And, like,
And I mean, the
and
accent is like what
it's,
every American, well, not every American, but you know what I mean. Every American
yeah,
thinks
it's
a British person sounds like. It's like, you're all right, mate. Would you like some tea and crumpets? That sort
basically
of voice,
that's
yeah.
close enough to what it is. Then we get into the actual set, into the studio segment, and if this were regular Taskmaster, there would probably be there would have been a vicious argument for at least one of these. Maybe Ron's throw or Dylan's, but of course, a roll in Reggie says that Lisa rolling Alex into the pool is not a throw, and Lisa, interestingly enough, just says, "I will take whatever you decide." And then immediately follows it up with, because I'm not a whiny bitch like Dylan. And she just takes the time to utterly abuse Dylan for a second for no reason. Because apparently, like, Dylan has argued a couple of times about how his task has been scored in other episodes. So she just takes the time out to just sort of be nasty for no good reason. And
Yep.
yeah, I don't care. I really don't like Lisa at all in this. Um, like, really, I'm going to just say this: half of the reason why this show sucks, because is that the cast they have is so utterly unlikable. Like, this is clearly, like, Lisa is clearly the bad apple that is spoiling the bunch, because everybody else is seeing this and is seeing no repercussions come from Reggie, and is
I
just
mean,
being utterly shitty as a result.
you're such a wise man.
It is. That's what it is. That's why, like, that's one of the reasons why Taskmaster works so much. Is if anybody gets mouthy, Greg in his role as like the omnipotent, slightly
Just
insane.
just go shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Greg shuts down any sort of dissent because it's funny. Reggie just sits there and does nothing, and I hate it.
Hang on, I'm just going to Google something real quick. Because obviously the Taskmaster's height is... Wow. Reggie is shorter than Alex.
Yeah, it does. I don't care.
It doesn't really work for the Taskmaster to be a short person. I mean, it can,
No,
but
the Taskmaster needs to be someone who is in-universe intimidating.
I actually think Lisa Lampanelli would have made a pretty interesting Taskmaster in herself, or Taskmistress.
No. Lisa would not. No, because
All right.
she's...
All right, maybe not Lisa Lampanelli per se, but someone like a woman who fulfills the Queen of Mean type. Like, maybe,
Yeah.
I know who a great female Taskmaster would be: the weakest link woman, Anne Robinson.
Yeah, or who was the teacher in Glee?
I've not seen Glee.
Jane Lynch.
I know who she is.
Jane Lynch could be the Taskmistress if we want to do that, because Jane Lynch is funny without being like Lisa Lampanelli. Like that's... Like, you could do that. So
I will say though, obviously I would like, if this show was better, I would obviously love to see someone like Ken Jeong as a contestant. But
there's lots of good contestants on this show.
Yeah, but I would love Ken Jeong if... Ken Jeong would be amazing on the show if someone like Joel McHale was the Taskmaster.
Joel McHale would be good. You've got to have someone who's full enough of themselves to just be like, shut the fuck up, this is my show.
Now that I think about it, Joel McHale would make obviously he's not like Conan O'Brien levels of like, this is perfect for him, but I can see him in like a bootleg version of the role.
Yeah, like Joel McHale could be like a backup Taskmaster, or like the assistant. He could be the assistant, maybe.
Not really. I can't see him as an assistant, because an assistant needs to be quite a young, either young or submissive kind of character. And
yeah,
I've seen Joel... I specifically mentioned Joel McHale and Ken Jeong's interactions together because on the American...
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yes, they were in Community, but more so on the American Masked Singer, which Ken Jeong is a main panelist for. Joel McHale sometimes comes on, and he just like constantly takes the piss out of Ken.
Ah, okay. I do not watch the American Masked Singer, so I didn't know that. But
anyway, we've got 2 tasks left in a show that has that has 3 ad breaks, yet is only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
scores in case it matters. Lisa gets 5th place but isn't disqualified. Kate 4th, Ron 3rd, Freddie 2nd, Dylan 1st. Why? It's not explained. Probably was edited out. Who gives a shit? Task 2.
Joe, I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
When is a step not a step?
When you're Rob Beckett.
No, it's when it's on a fucking hurdle.
I forgot that line. I knew what you were going for, and I couldn't remember.
I know what. Can you say when it's on a fucking hurdle, and then I'll edit that bit out?
Yep. Here, just ask me that again, and we'll just do this.
Okay. Joe, I've got to ask you a question.
Yeah?
When is a step not a step?
When it's on a hurdle?
You still can't get it right. It's when it's on a fucking hurdle.
Okay, let's do it one more time. I knew what it was.
I might even just leave this in now.
Whatever. I knew you weren't going to edit. When it's on a fucking hurdle, there, you can edit that in.
Whatever. Anyway, I asked that question because Get to the. This is from Series 3, Episode 1. Get to the microwave in as few steps as possible. Open the door before the microwave dings. The microwave is in a shed, and inside the microwave is a potato. Yes, I just did an Irish accent. Anyway,
No one would be stupid enough to do big steps, would they?
shall we talk about Dylan?
Yes.
See, I can do the whole transitions better than you. So Dylan. So obviously, for fuck's sake, Dylan alternates between stepping and hopping. But I should say the microwave is in the shed of the Taskmaster house, and the contestants start by the pool.
They also were not told where it was at first. Everyone had to ask Alex where it was.
That's kind of like, the task isn't find the microwave, it's get to the microwave.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, if I think back to when this task was done in the British version, it was a much, much longer distance to travel. So, and there were like, I was going to say more interesting obstacles, but some people created their own obstacles, Lisa.
Yeah. Like Lisa, holy shit.
But yeah, they don't know where the microwave is, but they find it's in the shed, and Alex is sat by it. Dylan alternates between stepping and hopping the whole way.
Something that's really interesting is that Alex actually starts by the pool to give them the task and then runs over there. Because
I swear he did the same thing in the British version as well. He gave them the task.
In the British version,
it's been a while since we talked about Series 3.
In Series 3, I think Alex gave them the task, then they waited for him to go buy the microwave and sit down. In this one, he actually is running alongside them as they do it.
He's, what's a person who runs alongside? He's sort of like, a dog's trainer at an event, you know, when a dog has to run.
At a dog show, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's like. So Dylan alternates between stepping and hopping. He's like some weird rabbit. He thinks about it for 8 seconds, which Alex claims to be longer than usual, to which Dylan says, like, fuck you or something. It takes him 30 seconds, surprisingly.
30 seconds to do 29 steps.
Yeah, so that's just over 1 step a second.
Yep.
I was thinking, is it over or under? Because like sometimes those sort of things get muddled in my brain. But yeah, Dylan, nothing really to say about Dylan. Ron and Freddie are up next. And they both do something which I'm surprised none of the people in the British version did, and that is crawl.
They did. They did it for a couple people did it at first, and then the issue is that they were doing it on the Taskmaster running track that was covered in goose shit.
Well, it wasn't a Taskmaster own running track. I think they went to
they were on
an athletics field.
They were at the Taskmaster's athletic field. Like it was said in universe to be that, but I think Sarah Pascoe did crawl on her knees, or maybe Gorman.
I remember she cartwheels.
Someone did it on their hands and knees for a bit, and they were and at some point, like either when they got over the fence or afterwards, it might have been Rob, but they were all hindered by the fact the track was covered in goose poop.
Yeah, that's true. This was like, there's so much goose shit everywhere, or something was a quote. Anyway, there's absolutely nothing to say about Ron other than the fact that he crawls. Freddie also crawls, and he makes it to the microwave, and he and Alex share the potato, like they both take a bite out of the opposite ends. And Freddie's immediately just like, oh my god, hot, 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 kind of.
And so does Alex, because I think that the Freddie Alex sort of thing is really funny, especially because you just get to see two British men being British, which will come really funny in the next episode we do with one of the tasks. I'll bring that up.
Kate, she takes a couple of like steps, and then she goes full Rob Beckett, and then she crawls, but she doesn't make it to the microwave in time, so she's DQ'd.
It took one step. I was really surprised when I saw Kate start to roll because in my head I was going, did she watch Taskmaster UK? Like, is this cheating? It
I
felt
beg.
like cheating.
Um,
It felt like cheating.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because she gets DQ'd. In
Yeah,
all,
that's why I didn't think it was cheating.
I should apologize. I got distracted for a brief second, so a couple of things you said went over my head. Anyway, Kate,
DQ'd one step. What did Lisa do? What did Lisa Lampanelli do?
she fucking kamikazes herself into the pool.
Yeah, for no. Okay, so Lisa's thought process was that swimming wasn't steps, but because
This
the
is
pool was like the primary obstacle, except it wasn't.
this is what I meant when I said earlier about people creating their own obstacles. Well, I
Of
say
course.
people, Lisa I mean, you knew that. The people I hope the people watching didn't know that because they don't have to see this fucking show, which is not available anywhere unless you pirate it like I did.
Or you have a cable subscription like I do, which is really bad. Is I got ads on this show, even though I'm logged in with a cable subscription.
I mean, if you want us to give us money to watch your shows, at least add more benefits to us paying.
I know,
I
right?
mean, that was originally one of the big selling points of Netflix was that there was no ads, and you could make original series that weren't challenged for time or had to worry about ad breaks. But then there were talks about them fucking putting ads on their shows.
And also, they remember when Netflix had good shows. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I mean,
Now,
I'm not. I don't want to go with the crowd too much, but Squid Game is genuinely a very good show.
yeah,
It's
I'm
an
sure that
absolute like it's amazing. It's like it's amazingly well written, and there's such like amazing directing decisions in it.
and for every Squid Game, there's like 15 other direct things they just drudge out of someone's.
The floor is lava. For every
Yep.
Squid Game, there's the floor is lava.
Yep.
Anyway, Lisa makes it to the microwave in 39 steps.
After she hauls herself out of the pool, screams. She looks like a drowned rat.
I'll get the picture of Lisa, and that will be our thumbnail. I'll get the.
Yep.
39 steps. Thankfully, she's not DQ. She's not. She makes it with. I say thankfully. I don't care. She makes it within time. So the final scores are Freddie and Ron are tied for first place. Dylan is third. Lisa is fourth, and Kate. Did Kate get 1 point? I mean, she was DQ, but I've written 1 point in my note.
Kate was DQ'd. She got no points. Would you like to know something really bad? So
I
when
don't really have a choice, do I?
pulled herself out of the pool, sure, the whole thing with her was that she thought she was going to be able to pull herself out of the pool and save many steps. She did not, because quoting her, she had the arm strength of Stephen Hawking. Now, that's bad as it is. And the crowd rightly goes boo. And she goes, oh, what? Is he here? Because she's trash. Here's the best thing. This episode aired in May of 2018.
Yeah, May 11th of May specifically.
Presumably, it was filmed a couple of months beforehand. And because she said she was cold, it might have been March. Because Lisa said it was very cold. Well, no, I'm saying March because Stephen Hawking died 14th of March, 2018. So this could have been very, very recent disrespect to the dead.
Fucking hell.
On Lisa's part. So, I don't know. I don't know.
Stephen Hawking was like he could laugh at himself, very obviously.
Yeah, but Lisa's not being nice about it at all. Like, you've got to remember that she's being just mean about this.
Well, I was going to say self-proclaimed, but the show also did it. She's branded Queen of Mean, even though I'd say the title goes to Anne Robinson. Fuck you, Lisa!
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
It,
with one task left to go, thankfully, Freddie Highmore, they say Freddie's in the lead for the first time, even though he won the first episode.
Mhm.
And I love that because Freddie won despite not winning a single one of the tasks in that episode. But anyway, Freddie's got 9, Dylan and Ron are both on 8, and the women are trailing behind.
yeah.
Anyways, the live task. Do you want to do this?
Yeah. Throw an egg through the hoop as many times as possible. This was from season 5, episode 8 of Taskmaster.
Yeah, the grand
And
final of live tasks of that series.
and again, we didn't have much to talk about it then, and we certainly don't now. The only real difference is that
These people did so
Ron
much
and
better.
Ron and Dylan, somehow they did better. Obviously, Kate throws the thing up and immediately breaks it. I don't think Freddie and Lisa even caught theirs once. And then we have Ron and
Yeah.
Dylan. Ron wraps his egg in his shirt because he has like an undershirt on. So he just takes off his shirt
Yeah.
and starts using that as cushioning. And then Dylan actually takes off his shoe, puts the egg in his shoe, and just does it for the entire minute that they have. And so he gets like 18 or 28 or something like that.
Which is a
And
lot. I'll give him
at
that.
one point, the shoe got caught in the net, and he touched the net trying to take it down because the full task brief was like, throw your egg through the hoop and catch as many times as possible. You have one egg, you may not touch the net or post. And they view that he should take 10 throws off was Reggie's decision.
What a weird decision.
Right? I don't understand that at all.
I mean, to be fair though, Greg made I mean, Greg's made some weird decisions, like taking grams off Tim Key for
yeah,
the watermelon thing. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a weird decision. The show was, I mean, that show was still in its infancy as well, but
so they did that, and then he still had more than Ron did, and so he wins the episode.
it was like almost there was no point punishing him in that point.
Yeah, I really don't like this show. It's so dumb.
Anyway, Dylan wins the episode. He steals Ron's sign, which is painful for Ron because he was 1 point away. Yeah, we are officially more than halfway through this fucking series.
Yep, I'm going to hit stop on this because while you guys might have to wait some time, we don't. We're going to start this up again for the next episode.
All right.
So kill me. Bye.
Okay. Bye.